Yo, stop for a second. Have you ever looked around and felt like the world is just falling apart? Like everything you thought was solid, governments, borders, even the future itself might just crumble? Now imagine feeling that way without memes, without TikTok, without notifications, just real chaos. Plagues, wars, collapsing empires. Sounds familiar? Maybe we're living the Middle Ages all over again, just with better Wi-Fi. Welcome to Pastoria. Okay, hear me out. Have you ever noticed how some people just hold everyone's attention? Like it doesn't matter what they do, millions of eyes are glued to them, cheering or arguing. Take Donald Trump, for instance. Whether you love him or hate him, the guy commands attention like almost no one else. And then you've got Vinicius Jr., sprinting across the pitch, scoring goals, and suddenly half the world is watching, feeling every move, every pass, every goal. And it's not just them. Musicians, actors, even influencers. Somehow they all get us invested in their lives, in their drama, in their victories. It's like we've built this entire society where attention is currency, and the more you grab, the more power you get. Funny thing is, this isn't new. Back in the Middle Ages, it was basically the same game, just different players. Kings, nobles, saints, knights, they held everyone's attention too. Not because they were smarter, cooler, or morally superior, but because social energy, meaning, and focus just flowed towards them. People gathered in town squares, in churches, in arenas, all to watch, to witness, to feel a part of something bigger than themselves. The only thing that changed is the stage. Then it was balconies, plazas, and arenas. Now it's screens, social media feeds, and stadiums. But the impulse, the need to follow, admire, and assign power to someone larger than life, that's been with us forever. And here's the kicker. We like to think we're so modern, that this is somehow different from the past, but maybe it's not. Maybe Trump, Vinicius Jr., and the celebrities we idolize are just the latest versions of kings and saints, filling the same role our brains have always been wired to respond to. Ever feel like your brain is running 100 tabs at once? TikTok, Reels, notifications, endless feeds. Every time you blink, there's a new fact, a new trend, a new thing to know. And yet, somehow, we rarely remember anything. Here's the wild part. People in the Middle Ages were basically doing the same thing we do today. They didn't have TikTok or notifications, but they lived lives overloaded with information, just in a different form. News from neighboring farms, orders from their lord, instructions from the church, predictions about the weather, the harvest, and rumors of wars on the horizon. And since we mentioned the wars, this is where things get uncomfortable. Portugal enslaved non-Christians, especially Muslims, particularly the Moors after the fall of Al-Andalus, and so-called pagans from African and Asian colonies. People were reduced to property simply because of their religion, or because the system needed labor. The church approved it, wrapped in religious language, but there was a clear economic angle too. And the justification went even deeper. Portugal framed slavery using a logic everyone at the time would understand: feudalism. The state claimed authority over land and people, granted land to those who served it, forced others to work it, and divided the output in a way that always benefited those at the top. Now, this is where it starts to feel like the Matrix, because society doesn't really want us free. It wants us contained, following the herd, reacting to trends, authority, headlines, and social pressure, all while believing we're making our own choices. At the beginning of the Middle Ages, especially after the fall of Rome, people looked around and felt that the worlds they knew was collapsing. The once thriving cities, roads, palaces, and temples all seemed to be sinking into ruin, giving rise to a sense that the apocalypse was near. This was not a fleeting fear, it was entirely rational. The destruction was visible. The institutions that once regulated their lives had weakened. Social routines were disrupted, and daily life had become unstable. Similarly, the Black Death did not enter cities with a loud announcement. At first, it was just scattered news. A city closed, a road no longer used, a village whose inhabitants had vanished. Gradually, the disease spread. Doesn't this remind you of something? Medicine had no answers, religious rituals offered no reassurance, and human relationships became based on fear rather than mutual reliance. Even the idea of tomorrow was no longer clear or certain, and all they could do was try to find meaning in what was happening through religion and prevailing beliefs. Today, that feeling persists, but in different forms. We no longer fear plagues as they did. Instead, we fear political chaos and nations armed with nuclear weapons. Comparatively, in our world today, there is a striking similarity. For example, the war between Russia and Ukraine is not seen merely as a regional conflict, but as an event that shattered a global sense of stability. For years, it was believed that the international system, despite its flaws, could contain conflicts, and that major wars in Europe were a thing of the past. Yet in reality, we are living through a modern version of the Middle Ages. All right, that's it for today. If you liked this video, smash that like button and subscribe so we can keep dropping more stuff. Thanks for hanging out with me. Ta-ra!